Welcome back to the Old History YouTube channel, part of the Old History social media project. This is part 2 of the Dean Miller interviews. For those of you that did not watch part 1, it is pretty loud in this video, lots of background noise. You can still make out what he's saying. So if you don't like lots of background noise, just go ahead and move on to the next video that I've made. Also, been getting lots of questions as to how people can help support the Old History project if they like it. You can go to www.patreon.com/oldhistory, link in the description. You have to register for an account, but that's just an easy way. Enjoy.
What about the church up at the cemetery?
That thing was, there's an emblem on the side of it. It was built by, I believe, 1700 and something, on the old Bethesda cemetery. And it's been closed ever since I can recall. But it was used as a hospital by both sides during the Civil War. Now, I read some histories on it, which supposedly official history says that it was used by the Confederates only, but now it wasn't. It was used by both. And if you ever go up there, and which I would suggest you do if you're interested in that thing, there's a hole up in the corner of the wall where a cannonball went through it and was stacked during the battle up there. But if you look at that old church and you can get in, it's got 2 doors on the side. The old churches were built, the men and the women sat different sides. And that one, I have been in it. It was used as just a storage place for the time I was young, and I guess still is. But the Fuller family and the McGees are side by side, buried in there. In fact, where I'll go, I get ready for the 3-4 spots to the left up there. And our grandson's buried there too.
I got a question about that cemetery. So there's a big ghost story up there. It says there's a witch's grave in the cemetery. It's got some kind of, there's a stone laying on the ground. It's got some kind of weird symbol on it. Somebody posted.
I seem to vaguely recall seeing something, but it didn't make any difference. The only witches cemetery that I recall was what over in the place they call the old fairgrounds, which was across 11E back of our farm. And I've heard the grandmother McGee talk about that. She was supposedly a witch. When she died, she told everybody she wanted to be buried in a chestnut coffin, so she could go popping and cracking to hell. And chestnut, if you ever seen chestnut burned, it'll pop and blow up sparks. And the story goes, according to grandmother, she was fine. When she died, she was buried over there in that old cemetery. And over that night, there was a terrific thunderstorm and lightning hit her grave and unearthed it. It's supposedly true. My grandmother told me that. But I don't know where the old cemetery is, where it's even there anymore. It's what they used to call the old fairgrounds.
Sky City or Ingalls there.
Sky City.
I have to do some digging on that one. I'd want to find that.
What was the name of that? The fairground was over there was what it was an area. It's all built up now. But they used to have county fairs over there, and they had a dirt track racetrack in the middle of it. They had a pond in it. I remember they had a dirt track race over there, and one guy run off and in the pond, and they like to go. I used to go over there when I was a boy. Gypsies would come through every year in the state. They'd be maybe 30 or 40 of them. They'd be trailers. They'd come in and sell everything. What they couldn't sell, they'd steal. It's only dead, I don't know. I had a letter there that McGee down there had written. I guess it's my grandfather, not Will, but his father. Showing a picture of his house down in Texas. And when I was younger and older people, there used to be a song about the letter edges in black. I don't know if you ever heard of it or not. Apparently, death notices were that way. I just thought it was a song. And that letter, I showed it to Arlene. He wrote Callaway, which my grandfather's father, telling him about Aunt so-and-so that had died. And I found it after everybody died up at home. And the letter's got the English on the black edges and no postage. Apparently they'd send those and have no postage on it. But there was some old things like that. Some of them got gone. But Civil War itself, I don't recall much about it, but Tennessee had more battles in it than any state in the Union except Virginia in the Civil War, and that's actually true. Grandmother Miller, my dad's mother, she was 99 when she died. Her father was killed when she was 7 or 8 years old in Mississippi down there when what was the name of the thing? They had the river boats around the forts, the southern forts. He was killed down there and supposedly was buried there in the hell the name of that cemetery. Anyway, I went by there 2 or 3 times, go back to Texas, and I always wanted to stop and look up his grave because he was killed down there. And I said something to Dad about it, and Dad said he was killed down there, but he wasn't buried there. He's buried up somewhere in Greenville. Well, I don't know, but Dad probably was right about it. But, Shiloh wasn't Shiloh. Civil War things there, though, it was fascinating. I would have given my arms for the book. They said they loaded them in a truck, took them out, burned them. Now you take 2 18-foot rooms with bookcases on all 4 walls full of books. That's a hell of a lot of books.
A mini library.
Oh, yeah. It had more books in it than the local library of Morristown did. I know that much. But that old house had so many memories.
Didn't you say that when you were little, you painted the outside of that house?
Yeah. Painted all over. She wanted it painted. And we borrowed 2 40-foot ladders, wooden ladders, from a guy that he worked for, and we painted the whole darn house. And it took about 3 weeks. Daughter was gone.
That's a great big old house to paint.
And if you ever get a chance to go look at it, and if it hasn't been changed, as you go up the walkway, the house along this way, the front room is the living room. And then there was there was 4 or 5 rooms in a row, big rooms. You go up the walkway and step up on the porch. It's a 2-level porch. And if it's still light, you look at the threshold where you step up to go into the room. Each one of the door sills is either 8 or 10 inch over, square. As you go into that front one, it's got a curve that is about 2 inches deep, where footsteps have worn it out over the years. And it's very obvious that that's changed.
Well, that'd be something to see.
Yeah, and but that old home there, it's got pine floors, or did have wide yellow pine floors. And Cousin May, a couple years, 3 years before she died, she had them going there to refinish. They'd been painted. One, they were the most beautiful things you ever saw. The ones that she didn't have the upstairs or anything, downstairs on it. There was yellow pine. Yellow pine, southern yellow pine, I found out, is almost as well as cypress to resist decay, and it lasts just about forever. But all of that home was handmade. The house on the right, but I can't think of the name of that. Before the Civil War, they had slaves there. And they had one old fellow was a master woodworker. And when they built that house, that family told him, if you'll do all the woodworking in here, each room in a different wood, when you're finished, we'll give you your freedom. And he did it. Now, I've never been in that house but once, and that was years ago. But each one of them, they've got carved mantles, doors, molding. One room's in walnut, one's in pine, one room's in sycamore, and each room is in a different wood.
Now that'd be something to see. I'd like to get in there and see that.
Oh, I don't know who owns that now, but that southern bunch of crooks, they sold it to somebody or something or other.
We had tried to get out there and go metal detecting, but they didn't want us out there. They probably gave us a bad name or something like that.
Yeah, the old house, one I'm talking about, is out which there you turn off the road, and the Fulhams was the second house back there. But it always fascinated me. I never did. I don't recall seeing anything because I must have been real little when I went in. But Cousin May was one who told me the story about that. But that area right up through there is rich in history. Herline had a book you might want to borrow from her. I can't recall the name of it. Written by Willa Dean, somebody wrote up.
Emma Dean Smith Trent.
Yeah, that's the one.
I've got 2 of her books.
Have you? I recall her very vaguely, and I ran across that book in the library, and I was tempted to steal it. I felt the bell with my brother's wife up there before they died, and I told her, I said, I'd give anything to her. And she called around and found the only one person she knew that had one, and she bought it from me. He gave it to me. I still got it. And I told Willardine about it. I told her, I don't know where in the world you can find one. And I loaned it, but I'm not going to give it to you. And she said, I'll find it. And she did. She got on the internet and got it. And it's got a lot of the stuff on Civil War and things. You know. Willardine, how did I call that name? But I don't recall her.
She was a teacher or something. I don't know a whole lot about her. I know she was a teacher or something along them lines.
Yeah, she was a historian or something or other on it.
She died not too long ago, and her husband did.
I remember one time, let's see, that was in 46, 47. Wars ended. I worked for some of my dad down there. And he asked me one day, said, you got your driver's license? I said, yeah, he give me his car keys. So I went to go to Bull Camp. And I had the guy put paint banners for sales and said, Bob Ferguson off come in. I got a sale coming up on down here. He said, take my car and go up there and pick up that, he ought to have that banner done. Well, what he didn't tell me was that the radiator had clogged up on it. I had to stop twice getting up there, and I got up there and found the guy, and he didn't have it ready. So I came back, and I had to stop in Whitesburg. Let the darn car cool off because the radiator was busted. And there was 2 or 3 older guys standing up there, and I was sitting there and was talking to them. I was about 16 or 17. And one of them was older fellow. I had no idea who they were. They were up in their 60s or 70s. They said, who do you belong to? I told them my dad and mother and said, was your grandmother Eugene McGee? And I said, yeah. One of the old fellas, and I remember her, said I saw her twice. Said the train, they rode the train back between Plattsburgh and Morristown back here. And she said that was one of the most beautiful women I ever saw. And said I remember her eyes. That she was on the train place, you know. I never forgot it.